Hi, Mike from the Fulcrum here. Haven't posted a lot on the channel lately. Had a great summer. I was so busy that I actually didn't have a chance to really do a whole lot of videoing. Uh, I was out on the bike virtually every day. I was out touring around areas in my part of the country, enjoying as much sunshine as I could. Been out hiking, walking with the dog, and giving the channel a lot of thought. Maybe go down some different routes. Next couple of videos, I'm going to be talking about the challenges of living with Lyme disease. I never mentioned this before on the channel, but I actually have had Lyme disease since about 1989. At the time in Canada, this part of Canada, Ontario, they would not test you for Lyme back then. They didn't believe that it was actually even existed in Ontario. I know exactly when I came down with it. We had a Christmas tree operation at my in-laws' farm in Apsley. We had 2,000 acres. Most of it was fully treed. We'd harvest about 1,500, 2,000 Christmas trees a year and would wholesale them to public service groups like the Legion or the Boy Scouts or anyone else that wanted to do a fundraiser. Also, we had 2 hunting camps there, and we used to feed the deer. So as a result, we had an enormous number of deer in the area. In fact, we'd be having dinner and deer would be practically looking in the kitchen window watching us eat. And it also meant the area was totally infested with deer ticks. I noticed the bullseye rashes on my legs one night after coming in from cutting the trees. Didn't give any thought to it because being in the marsh and through the woods and trudging around in snow up to your knees and being jammed by branches and pine needles, you're bound to get all kinds of scratches and injuries and punctures. Never really gave it a thought. About a week later, came down with a very bad, strange flu that cleared up, and I didn't think much more of it. Then other things started to appear. Pain behind my right eye, numbness down the left side of my body. Then that cleared up. Then heart palpitations started right out of the blue. My heart would begin racing for no reason whatsoever. Went in, was tested multiple times, 3 times, put Holter monitors on me. Had angiograms, cardiograms, full blood tests, even about a gallon of urine samples. Nothing conclusive came up. I started doing a little research on my own and just happened upon some early Lyme disease self-help forums. And when I looked at the checklist of symptoms, I had 98% of them. Now, mine's primarily what they call neuro-Lyme, which tends to affect my nerves and my heart action. It can cause shortness of breath, panic attacks that wake you up in the dead of night, all kinds of wonderful things. There's ways of alleviating that through trial and error that I've used. Now, I'm not a medical professional, so take this as anecdotal, but I will be doing videos on what I've been doing in order to alleviate my symptoms to the point where they're almost non-existent. Now, this will vary for different people depending on what type of bacteria you have from the Lyme disease. There's more than one, there's several. This disease can go in remission. In fact, you may not have any symptoms at all until your immune system becomes compromised by some other illness or, say, a bad cold or the flu or being overworked. You get overtired and then symptoms will flare. Symptoms will also flare following the circadian rhythm. For example, if I'm going to get a flare-up with it, it'll be early in the fall and early in the spring. So I'll be talking about ways of alleviating that. So if you have any questions about Lyme disease, if you have it yourself, I want this to be an interactive thing where we can talk about what we've done and what works. I know mine's been quite a success. I was recently at a local library where they had a researcher who'd written a book on living with Lyme disease. And I was standing there waiting for my turn to get a copy signed, and I'm leafing through it, and I'm nodding yes and shaking my head no. And she noticed. When I came my turn to talk to her, she said, I noticed you were looking through the book and shaking your head and nodding your head. And I said, yeah. I said, I've had Lyme since 1989. It was dead silence. She said, you know, most people that have had Lyme that long are in wheelchairs or have a great deal of difficulty getting around. And all I could say to her was, well, you know, I couldn't get any direct help from the medical profession at the time, so it was left to my own devices. So much of what's in your book, I actually figured it out on my own what works. She took my name, number, and email, promised to confab with me about some of the things that I had discovered, but I never ever did hear back, and I didn't follow up on it anyway. So I think what we'll do from here on, at least for a bit, I'll be doing videos on Lyme disease and how I've personally dealt with it, and maybe give you some hints on things you can do to alleviate it, or maybe almost eliminate it entirely in your case. Anyway, as always, breathe deep, think clearly, and remember, Mike loves you.